Hey guys, it's Sotti again. I'm sitting here in Bochum at the Matrix, besides with the band SAMSAS TRAUM. Hi, first of all.
Hey. Good.
Hi. Hi. You're playing here tonight at your Kalk Tour. We'll explain that. But first of all, for people outside who just kick in, maybe you can introduce yourself. Who are you and what's your part in the band?
Sure. My name is Christian. I play guitars.
I'm Andy, play guitar as well.
Ich bin Alex, ich denke mir das Ganze aus und ich singe.
So we do some mixed?
Yeah.
Ah, cool. The first time, but it's funny. So I do subtitles for you and for you. Funny thing. Hey, cool. This is nice.
But not for Andy.
But okay, and maybe you can explain a little bit. SAMSAS TRAUM is like a rock metal band, sometimes with electro elements. Is it like this, or do you have some preferred explanation if people ask?
Well, you tell me, what type of band are we?
I still don't know. We have a mixture.
I always tend to say it's symphonic gothic metal to make things easy and not explain too much. We have elements of black metal and gothic and orchestral music and symphonic metal and electro. So it's a wild ride, it's a wild mix, and the band has developed quite a lot into different directions throughout its career. And grundsätzlich liegt es halt einfach daran, dass ich sehr schnell gelangweilt bin von einer gewissen Stilrichtung und immer wieder was Neues ausprobieren wollte und mir für jede Platte einfach was Neues ausdenke, damit mich das herausfordert.
Yeah, I totally understand. And I think it's really depending on the album and the time of the band. What is more metal or more goth or more electro?
Yeah.
You can say like this.
Yeah, it depends on what I want to do next. So at the time of Poesie, I was just fancying to make a hip-hop album with difficult lyrics. And at the time of Heiliges Herz, I was just fancying doing a black metal album. And Kalk was supposed to be an album with long songs with little lyrics and little vocals. And next album is going to be totally different again.
Okay, and we have to explain, you're on the Kalk Tour now, so it's for the Kalk album, but the album is not finally out because we had some pressing problems, or?
Well, basically we had many problems during the last month, starting with people in the band being rather unhealthy. People had health problems. Then we had just schedule problems, and resulting in that, now we have a delay of the album. Also mein Schlagzeuger war lange Zeit krank, dann hatte unser Gitarrist einen Unfall und wir hatten sowieso schon einen sehr tighten Zeitplan und durch diese Verzögerung ist einfach alles auseinandergeflogen. Deswegen wurde der ganze Stress am Ende bei mir abgeladen. Also ich bin ja die letzte Instanz, die alles dann nochmal machen, checken und prüfen muss. Schlussendlich trete ich dann als Produzent auf und sortiere alles. Und jetzt liegt es daran, wie schnell ich fertig werde. Also ich habe auch meine Sachen mit dabei auf Tour und ich denke mal, dass wir den 6.6. als Release-Date nicht mehr halten können, aber wir kommen dann halt einfach 2 Wochen später raus.
I think now it's not important to be 1 or 2 weeks later because the tour is finally done. But maybe we can talk about what have been the coolest reactions. You have played the new songs, for example, probably, as it's a Kalk Tour?
Yeah, we played a couple of new songs already in Hamburg. Today is just the second gig of the show, and it's going to be the second time that we're playing them live now.
Oh, okay. So
We played the title track Kalk already since 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, 2020.
Yeah.
Yep.
And now we play 4 songs from the entire album now.
Okay, and yesterday in Hamburg you could test a little bit, and
Yeah.
I think people have been excited, or what have been the reactions?
Yeah, they mostly appreciated the drumming, did they?
Yep. Yeah.
They were quite happy about Michael blast beating all over the place and doing wicked things with this drum kit.
Oh, I see. So this is some of the important parts of the album, to have more hard metal parts, or something like that? Or?
I cannot. It's just like I wanted to do an album, a black metal album with long songs, and I just did it. And now we play it live, and then it's gone. that's how it's like.
It's a passing journey.
Yeah, it's just SAMSAS TRAUM, you know. I always do what I want to do, and I don't think about it, and anything can happen.
I think this is something fans love about your band, that you're not like others doing all the same stuff for years.
Yeah.
Being AC/DC, everyone who likes AC/DC because they do what they do, and
I actually don't like AC/DC. I want it on record that I do not like AC/DC.
Okay, but that's there.
Yeah, that's there.
So there's probably, Slayer hasn't been the same all the time. They have developed during years, I would say. Yeah, totally. But we're talking about SAMSAS TRAUM, and I think you are the main songwriter still, or the only songwriter, is it like this?
Yeah, he worked with me on the Kalk songs, and he's a very prolific songwriter. He does a very good job. He has a lot of talent, and it was a pleasure to work with him. He's still a little bit untrained. He needs to learn a lot about technical aspects and routine, and especially deadlines. But I'm looking forward to working with Chris together in the future, and God knows what's going to happen next. He's really cool. And I definitely like to be on stage with those guys. They're super cool. And I'm also very happy that Andy is with me, because I can totally rely on him. And it's just a cool team I have now.
So this is the first time you work together as a songwriter team?
Yep.
Okay. So I understand. But the lyrics still are yours?
There is not a lot of lyrics on Kalk.
Okay.
So it's like I wanted to highlight certain parts of the material with little vocals, but it's more like choir parts or unpredictable screams, but we're not doing it live. So because the songs were intended to be instrumental, and this is how we're going to play them. So it's like 20-25 minutes of instrumental music, more or less progressive, and it's a different side of SAMSAS TRAUM.
Interesting. I'm looking forward to listen to it. So. Yeah, cool. And I think it's a little bit, your last releases, these days have been like soundtracks, for example, for comics and stuff. Is it a little bit the same or different?
Well, the point is that I had a period of approximately 3 or 4 years where I was hoping to be able to establish a publishing house for comics. I was moving my publishing house Insektenhaus to another level. I published as much books as possible. In the beginning I thought that I could do it parallel to SAMSAS TRAUM, but after a while I just understood that it's impossible, because it's taking too much time to work on comics and publish books. It's a whole different type of work. And I didn't want to give up on that project, so I was pushing harder and harder and harder, and I always thought that I will make it somehow and establish it. And we got a lot of recognition, and people liked what we did, and everybody said, "Hey, you're publishing cool books, and we like the books, and the quality is super." And I always thought that I could make both, but I couldn't. And then also the pandemic was happening, which completely twisted my mind, and I had several private problems which were very hard to deal with. And for the last 4 years I was like in a mental spiral where I was just sitting at home on a chair and not really understanding who I was and what I'm going to do and how everything is going to turn out in the end. It was just more and more work. And I was still writing and composing music. And then like after 4 years I woke up and I suddenly understood, hell, now I have like 4 records on my hard drive, and I still have this comic soundtrack and the second comic soundtrack, and I have this single Andrew wrote, and we still have this best of, and why the fuck didn't I release all that stuff during the last 4 years? What was wrong with me? But I can't tell you. It was just like hibernation, just like Winterschlaf. Yeah? And now I woke up and I started doing it, and I'm back, and it feels quite good, and I love to be a musician again. And I can tell you, I sold my publishing house to somebody else, because it was just a big minus. First we had the pandemic, then the war started, Russia versus Ukraine, and the prices exploded, and I continued pushing and promoting my work and my books, but it doesn't work in Germany. Germany is not a good place to publish comics. The entire scene is very small, people have little money, and in the end I had a minus, you won't believe it, I had a minus of 43,000 euros. And I found somebody who paid for it. I found somebody who wanted to buy it, and now I'm still from time to time working on comics and still working on the books which I already bought, the licenses which I still own. But it was a good experience, and it was a very difficult lesson to learn. We learned a lot about layout, we learned a lot about the market in Germany, we learned a lot about printing and books in general. But I can tell you I'm happy that I'm done with this and that I'm now back in music business again. Yeah.
Totally understand. So it's too many projects and too big projects sometimes really stop you and you...
No, I wouldn't say that it was too big. The problem is that the artistical approach or the artistical work of making a comic, if you're not the author, is not very big. But the work itself, like putting all the text into the word balloons and doing all the layout, this is very much time consuming. When you make music, you get results more easily and you get them a lot more quicker than with comics, and that was the problem. And me and my friend Jojo, who is like ex-vocalist of SAMSAS TRAUM and who is doing all the layouts for me, we always thought that we would just solve this problem by working more or working harder, but it didn't solve anything because it's just a work that can be done only slow. It's not for me.
Yeah, we've done some email interview about your comics and stuff, about the Iron Maiden comic you made, for example, and you told me about how difficult it is just to put some phrases into those bubbles. Yeah. Because German words are longer than English, for example.
Exactly. And in German, I did all the translations. I did all the shrinking, the downsizing of the English lyrics. And the Iron Maiden comic was specifically difficult because we just got a pile of data rubbish from America. They threw like a bunch of files in front of our feet and said, turn this into a comic. Because even the license, the guys who gave us the license, what's the word for it?
Licensee?
The licensee, yeah. The licensees didn't know where the book is and had to find the old hard disk, and then we just got a pile of shit and turned it into a book. And it wasn't even successful.
As you mentioned, it's probably Germany's the mainstream stuff like Marvel or so, something they can sell. Panini.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. It's all going down. Everything's going down. Marvel and the stuff Panini is releasing is not very successful. Fuck Panini.
So, but we come back to SAMSAS TRAUM as music, and Kalk is now coming. The last one was the forgotten. I don't want to touch it. Das vergessene Album. Yeah. It's the last studio album, and this even was like some versions of songs from former album. Maybe you can explain yourself a little bit. What's the story behind this?
Basically, Scheiden tut weh was the B-sides of Heiliges Herz. When I wrote Heiliges Herz, I wrote 24 songs, and then I picked 12 and made them Heiliges Herz, the album. I worked like that because I wanted to create an atmosphere as evil and atmospheric as possible. I wanted just to pick songs which had a certain feeling, and because I was writing the entire album with a guitar and I didn't play a lot of guitar at that time, I just needed more tries. So I just wrote 24 songs and then picked the darkest ones and the best ones. And I thought the other 12 songs were shit. And I completely ignored them. And after years, I found the demos again. And I listened to them, and again I thought, why the fuck didn't I release that earlier, and let's just do it and re-record it. And I didn't even re-record the guitars, I used the old demo guitars because they were so good. And that turned into Scheiden tut weh. And I made a version with synthesizers, with synthesizer orchestras, and we released it, but I wasn't completely happy with that album because the roughness disappeared because of all the orchestra. Yeah, it started to be a little bit more delicate with the orchestra in it, and without the orchestra and the synth, it was more rough and metal. And so we just released a second version. That's it.
Okay, see. I'm not totally sure. I'm not that firm in your band history, so you have been in the band then.
Chris war damals noch nicht mit dabei. Andy war aber mit dabei. And we had a guitarist from Russia. Who was playing with us, but the problem was that as soon as the war started, he started to release statements on social media which were just unbearable and, for me, absolutely intolerable.
Yeah, I totally understand this.
Yeah.
This is really difficult. The whole war has made the world really even more polarized. I think that's the right word. Yeah. Totally bad. But so you're playing some of that material as well on the tour?
I think 2 songs.
Yeah, 2 songs. Yeah. 2 songs.
Great. And I can ask you, for example, as you are not the main songwriters in the past, or have been in the past, maybe you can tell me what are the coolest songs to play that you ever wrote?
So I would say the Heiliges Herz material, for me, I think is a lot of really cool, intricate little guitar parts there. Not necessarily technical, but like there's a lot of clever little interplay between the guitars. It's a lot of fun to play. I really enjoy playing those ones. We got I think 2 songs from Heiliges Herz tonight.
Yeah, 2.
And both of which I'm looking forward to playing.
Yeah.
Lots of fun. And same with Scheidentuch as well.
Yeah.
Same for you?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I see. So, and I think the set for tonight is all about the whole story, or do you have some songs or some albums you don't play anymore? Is there something you don't like even anymore? As you say, normally you release an album and it's gone. And some musicians say, okay, I don't want to play it, and some say, okay, it can be played live.
Well, you are asking me about the Kalk songs, or generally?
In general, yes.
The problem is that in general we started to have a list of songs which the audience always wants to listen to, and we simply have to play them because people are disappointed when they don't get to hear this material. And sometimes a song enters that list and sometimes a song drops out. So for example, we are going to play a new song which was not released yet from an album called Vota Tenebris, because it just fits into the flow. We have added Chaos Prince and Wind Princessin to our set list. Of course, for the first time we're now not going to play Für immer, because we're a little bit tired of that song and it didn't fit into the set list. And but I have to say that it's gonna be not, I can't say that it's gonna be the last time that we will perform like that, but I would like to have some changes in the future and maybe discover a couple of tracks which are even unplayed or were never played live, just to make it less boring for us, because we've got a lot of routine now. That's why we really enjoy playing that instrumental material from Kalk, because it's something new. But of course you can't play in Bochum without doing Die Zärtlichkeit der Verdammten or Ein Fürs wie du. It's just impossible not to play those songs.
Because they won't go to bed.
Yeah.
So I still like playing those songs, because I've not been in the band as long. It's always great to see the
they're fun.
audience
It's
reaction.
good for audience reaction.
For sure, yeah. Like I think some of my kind of fondest memories of playing live in general would be saying like Fetus and seeing the crowd reaction to that. Or Strom as well.
Basically, it's just like trying to keep balance between the new material and the wishes people have, and it's not. Basically, we also have to remind ourselves of the fact that we're not doing it for ourselves. So if we go on tour, we're doing it to make people happy. We're doing it because people want to forget about their problems. They want to come to the concerts, they want to have a good time, they want to meet their fellow fans and friends and people they haven't seen for a while. They want to spend a nice evening, and if we can help them having that evening, so we're going to do it. I'm not going to play some artsy-fartsy material on my tour with ASP when we go on tour in October. No, we're just going to make a very nice and very, very entertaining best-of show there. And it's going to be 1 hour of unicorns and glitter.
I would have asked for that, so you're really looking forward to that tour, I think.
Absolutely, that's going to be the tour of all tours.
How did this come up? I know you have worked together on tracks, for example, in the past, but I think you've never played together live. At least maybe at a festival, but not in this constellation. Or?
We had a quarrel. Let's say we had an argument back in 2003, I think, or 2004. Asp invited me to go on tour with him, And back in those days, he had problems in getting the tour together because we were both still small bands, and he had to convince the clubs to get contracts and get the dates, and it didn't work. It took
You couldn't imagine this today.
Huh?
You couldn't imagine this today.
Yeah, it's impossible.
Ask.
But back in those days, it just didn't work. Nobody wanted us, nobody wanted him, and there were some people who needed to be convinced. And I was very skeptical towards it because it took so much time and it didn't seem to turn out successful in the end. And that's when Thomas Reiner of Rahmen Motel showed up, and he said, okay, I feel that there is something wrong with the USP tour. He didn't say it like that, but he said, okay, Alex, maybe you want to go on tour with us instead, because we have a tour coming up, it's fully booked, and you can be our support. And I phoned USP and I said, listen USP, I see that there is not a lot of development with your tour going on, and now I got an invitation from Rahmen Motel, and I'm going to tour with Thomas, and I'm not going to tour with you. And USP was very disappointed that I let him down, because after me leaving, he had even more problems in getting his tour together, and then all the gossip started, and all the arguments started. And it wasn't necessarily USP who was behaving wrong, and it wasn't me who was behaving wrong in that situation. It was more or less Matze, the old band member of USP. He was just mocking about me in internet forums and uttering some pretty annoying things about me and just pushing me and pushing everybody. He was misbehaving. So then there came like 10 years of silence, and I think because of me starting to work with comics, because USP is also into comics, he started to get interested in what I'm doing, and slowly we had contact again. And I think we even met a couple of times. Yeah, I brought him comics and we talked about the past, and all the anger, all the frustrations were gone, and he just invited us to join him on tour, because I may say that, I don't want to, wie sagt man, ich möchte nicht angeben, ich will auch nicht damit prahlen.
Don't want to pretend, I think.
Yeah. He respects me a lot for being so antagonistic, problematic, difficult, and weird. And he just likes that about SAMSAS TRAUM, and he has a lot of respect for me being such a weirdo. And that's why he's really happy to have SAMSAS TRAUM with him. And he invited us, and this invitation is really, really very generous and very big, and it's an offer we couldn't refuse. And I can tell you guys, USP, he's just one of the friendliest, most generous and coolest guys in the entire German Gothic scene. And he's going to have a big part on my success in the future because of this tour, that's for sure.
Totally. But that's funny. So you have a little bit of self-irony of being a weirdo, something like that?
Yeah, of course. I mean, people like me shouldn't be taken seriously.
Yeah, but it's cool to me because many people say, Alexander is a little bit difficult or something, but I think everyone has the right to be difficult somehow.
I'm not difficult.
Yeah.
I'm just, sometimes I'm just straight.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm just a little bit sloppy and confused. Sometimes I'm funny like a child. And it just depends on how you meet me. And I'm not an asshole. People think I am an asshole, but actually I'm not. I'm quite fair and collegial, and I try to do the best for the people who work with me. And
yeah, that's my experience. Yeah, most definitely.
I never heard asshole in this context, so just weirdo is a cool word as well. But your music and your lyrics and stuff show that you have a little bit different mind to many other people.
Yeah,
this is what people love about the music as well. And
it's difficult.
Being in a band with Alex is very easy as long as you deliver what you're meant to deliver. It's as simple as that. You know, if you come to here to be professional and deliver a show, if you do that, then there's no problems.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Great. So maybe you can tell a little bit what is difficult about them? Are they difficult or are they just easy? Are they weird?
I'm going to put my fingers in my ears for this one.
Well, silence. Well, it would be unfair to talk about their weaknesses, because I have weaknesses myself. But each of the band members has it's also about Matthias, it's also about Kaini. Everybody has features, everybody has superpowers, let's say like that, like a superhero. Everybody has a superpower. So I think that my superpower is not singing. Some people think that I'm a good vocalist, but actually I'm not.
You have a good voice.
I can entertain people. And I can do like stand-up comedy, and I can improvise quite easily and take up what people say to me and just turn it into something funny. That's my biggest superpower. I think I'm just a Klassenclown. Yeah. Andy's superpower is that he's very precise and routined, and he's delivering great live shows, and he has a lot of knowledge about gear. Chrissy's superpower maybe, I don't know him for that long, but I think he's a very prolific songwriter who has a good feeling for atmosphere and black metal harmonics. Kaini's superpower is basically not drumming fast. Kaini's superpower is actually not black metal. Kaini's superpower is more to be groovy. And the superpower of Matthias is, for example, not necessarily his studio recordings or being a producer, but he has a very good live skill. He can be like a Rampensau. And so all those superpowers come together, and that's what's forming the SAMSAS TRAUM live shows.
So you can say your band is like a superhero team.
Every band is like a superhero team. The secret is just that you get to know each other, and that the powers of people are put into the center, and the weaknesses have to be covered by the others.
Yeah, and you can say like every tour and every album and everything you do together are adventures. Fighting the evil, like not evil in the world, but evil problems you have to overcome and stuff.
It's finding the balance between the members of what's going to drive the whole thing forward with the different people doing the aspects they're good at.
Okay. I have something to ask you, especially. I don't think you can tell something about Neue Deutsche Welle. Probably not. But in the preparation for today, for this interview, I listened to the new stuff, but also the old things. Everything I like, and there was Terra Titanic again. And I got Gänsehaut.
Okay.
So I love the Neue Deutsche Welle. Is it like you love the whole NDW, or is it just this one song that you really have loved?
I think I'm just very much a child of the 80s. I know that nowadays everybody is saying that he or she is a child of the 80s, but I was actually born in 1978. I'm 46 now. And when I was young, I was always watching Hitparade at the second German television, ZDF. And it was still presented by Dieter Thomas Heck, and you could phone and vote for your favorite songs. And when I was little, I was already fascinated very much about movies and cinema and Hollywood films. And back in those days, I was a big fan of E.T. I was mad about E.T. On one side, I was scared about E.T., but I was also mad about E.T. I had a lot of merchandise, even if I didn't understand what it was about, but I was just mad about this figure. Later on, I was mad about a Star Wars feature film called Kampf Endor. And I'm a big Star Wars fan, and I was just overwhelmed by the Return of the Jedi. So that's my background. And as I said, when I was little, I watched the Hitparade, and Peter Schilling was performing there several times. And during one Hitparade show, he was performing, and they showed a little figure of E.T. in the background. And that was just paradise for me. So it was the combination of this song and space and E.T. and everything and blurry pictures and all those 80 television effects which they had. And it was just completely, I took off mentally. And Also there is this und ich düse im Sauseschritt. I had a vinyl single of Kleine Taschenlampe brennen. I liked 99 Luftballons and all that shit. So I wouldn't say that I was a big fan of NDW or that I'm a specialist of it, but it's the music of my childhood. I got to hear a lot of it at television, Formel 1, all that stuff. I just got breastfeeded with this music. So what can I say?
It's a horrendous type of phrase. That's not a thing. We don't say that.
You don't say that.
We don't say that. We don't.
How do you say it?
I don't want to say anything after hearing that. It's just imagery flooding through my brain.
Sorry for the pictures. It's going to stay with you until the end of your life now.
Breastfeeding ET now. It's not good.
Yeah, and I just love the sound of cheap synthesizers, and I just love the combination of all the shit they had back in those days. These weird little instruments and these electronic devices just coming up and being modern and trendy, and I just love it. I always get back to the cheap sounds. I'm not interested in sounding like modern techno or like modern electronic music productions. I'm really interested in this sick little shit.
Yeah.
Having this retro sound, but cool melodies in your music, for example. The melody is more important, I think, than the sound.
More important than rhythm, also. It has to be melodic mostly.
Yeah, and in Deutsche Welle, I asked because it's for me the same. Yeah. I think we're almost the same age. I'm 1 year younger than you, and I'm trying to get as many NDW stars as possible. For example, for this channel now, because that's what I love. Meeting them and talking about this is really cool. But we have to talk about Evox then now a little bit, and after this we come slowly to an end.
Yeah.
But you mentioned Come from Endor. I think Battle for Endor is the English.
Yeah.
And the second one was Karawane der Tapferen.
Yeah.
I don't know the English Caravan
of Courage.
Okay. So I don't know many people who have seen these movies because I think they've been not that public as Star Wars itself.
Yeah. I've never even
so
heard of them.
all are Ewok fans?
I've never even heard of them. This is all news to me.
Okay. Because I think Star Wars fans are divided into those who love Ewoks and those who say, okay, this is child stuff. Have you discovered this as well in discussions on the Star Wars fans?
No. I don't care about people who hate Ewoks. if people hate Ewoks, they're dead to me.
Great.
I have a piece of the fur of Thibaut. I have it as a movie prop. It's hanging on my wall in my studio. I own a piece of Thibaut.
So I have to break in your studio. No, not really, but...
No, I think that those characters and those figures were particularly attractive to children.
Yeah.
They were cute and funny, and they didn't speak complicated language. You didn't understand what they were saying, but they were brave as fuck, and they saved the day in the end. So
they saved the universe.
Yeah. They're the heroes.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So I'm a big fan of Chewbacca. So everything that's furry, I like.
Okay. So how is it called, a furry?
Yeah.
You know those people?
Okay, again, more pictures.
See, I was thinking that, but I wasn't going to say it.
Where is your fur, baby?
On the inside.
On the inside.
I'm going to have
some
very ugly dreams tonight. Very confusing dreams.
Okay, so I think my bassist is already on stage.
Yeah,
so
I don't want to hold you back. Just a quick last question. How do you prepare now for the show? Doing soundcheck probably, but what else is important?
Well, they prepare a lot. They start playing like 1 hour before the show starts and warming up.
Yeah, I think it's important.
I'm basically just doing nothing.
Yeah, so for us, a few of these songs are really, really intense, so it's really important to get muscle warm-ups and not to cause damage. And also, when you go on stage, if you haven't done the warm-up, you get halfway through a song and you can't actually do it. So we have to put a lot of effort into getting ready.
And Andy and I have been playing in bands together for a long, long time, so we've had quite a set routine that I feel like we both disappear just before, an hour beforehand. We'll be the guys that'll be backstage preparing. That's how it's always been. And
it just helps you mentally focus as well and get prepared.
You don't want to be kind of worrying about how your fans feel for the first song, the first half of the set till it warms up. You want to be going out there guns blazing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
because it's a physical performance. It's really
100%, very physical.
Yes. As I mentioned, I listened to the songs, and there are some really, really hard songs in your program. So
yeah, one of the new songs we're playing tonight is definitely the hardest song ever for SAMSAS, for sure. Yeah, it's very difficult.
So great. So do you have some free greetings, or someone you wanna greet now, or some free words you wanna say?
Hi Mom.
Danke fürs Zuhören, danke für eure Zeit. Bleibt der Musik treu, die ihr liebt, und unterstützt die Bands, die ihr gerne hört. Die Zeiten werden immer schwieriger. Geht auf Konzerte, kauft Merchandising, bleibt nicht nur beim Streaming, sondern kauft den Bands auch irgendwas Physisches ab. Und ich hoffe, dass ich euch alle bei ASP sehe, weil das wird mega geil.
Yeah. So great. Thank you for the nice talk.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for watching. SAMSAS TRAUM.
Cheers.
And bye. Cheers.